link, what I'm watching in here, right? From the higher time frame perspective, right? We are here. Price has been and price has been. Let me take this pen. Price actually manipulated this low, right, and started to move higher, right? I do think that we will go higher again in here, but on the lower time frame, we are making a pullback down, right? On the daily, we got these two relatively equal lows. So I think that the price will go first lower before we start to get this up move, right? So currently, as overall, I am bullish. Currently, I do think that we will go lower first, right? So let me take you to the lower time frame. Actually, let me stay on this daily, but let me zoom it a little bit more, right? And here is what I'm seeing, right? So we can see that the price is setting these two relatively equal lows in here, right? But before that, we've been slightly moving higher, right? Taking up these highs, right? So these two last up candles are actually what? It's a order block, right? And we've been reacting in here. I'm sorry today for my moves because I don't have a mouse in here, so it's a little bit looks like I'm first time on the trading view, but I will be okay, right? So we have reacted of this level in this manipulation, right, which has happened on the Monday, right? Then price moved lower and it's actually again broke this low, but still it has set these two equal lows, right? So what does it mean? It means that price is most likely still going lower, right? So we have this daily order block, right? Now we have this range, this daily range in here, right? And price today manipulated in that range, right? And is moving inside, right? So from daily we going to the 1 hour, right? And here we are, right? So we need to scale down, we need to build the framework and the the how to call it, like a narrative on the higher time frame, right? Now we're going to the lower time frame, and here is what we see, right? So on the 1 hour, this up candle that did this manipulation and then we closed below, it's our confirmation of the order block, right? In other words, change in the order flow, right? The perfect entry would be after this close in here, right? And then we could be targeting this 50% and this low, right? Why? Because we have the narrative that most likely price will go where? Into these two equal lows, right? So what most likely happened in here, right? These two equal lows. What is it? It's a double bottom, right? And in here, some traders most likely have what? Trend line, right? So the price created this double bottom. That's where many people, those who entered this trend line and been expecting price going higher, that's where they will put the stop losses, right? Also, and that's basically it, right? So we have the narrative of price going lower and this inducement which has attracted the traders inside the trade, and after the break of these highs, right? Let me zoom it now. Okay, right? And after this break of this daily high with this strong candle, right, which is like another inducement, right? Another trick how to suck traders into the wrong side of the trade, right? Because they think this double bottom, right, is where the price will not go again because it's rejected. But in the fact, by rejecting there two times, it's where the bigger stop loss cluster will be, right? So that's why I think we go lower, right? So we have this daily range, right? Price traded above it, reacted of this higher time frame daily order block, right? So we can write it in there. That's what I suggest you to do because sometimes I don't do that and then I'm a little bit lost in my drawings, right? So it's a daily order block, right? This is what? This is our daily CLS range, right? So we can draw right in here also, right? I think I have a shortcut for it here, right? So daily CLS, right? And let me change the color a little bit. right? And then we need to see our confirmation, right? So it is what? It is again closing below this up candle that created this damage, this manipulation, that where the traders has entered, right? Why now our stop loss will most likely be safe in here, right? Of course, this is always just a probability, because those traders who has entered in here in this breakout, right, they entered long in here, right, and now they are trapped. They most likely have stop losses somewhere below these lows, right, or maybe below this low, right, and our stop loss will be most likely safe in here because market will not give them the chance to exit from this trade, right? Some traders who has the long right now in here, they wish that they didn't make this mistake entering with the big leverage, and they wish that the price will go higher and give them the chance to exit, right? So right now most likely market makers will be pushing to their liquidation, right? So we are actually trying to understand who is the participant of the market right now and what are they doing, right? So in here is our confirmation, right? And it's not daily order block, but 1 hour order block, right? 1 hour order block, right? And there is where we can enter, right? And here we have more confirmations. It's not just this order block, but also the breaker block, right? These consecutive up candles, right? Let's mark it as a breaker, which is for me this blue one, right? And also we have this fair value gaps, right? So price should go lower, right? We have a time, we have a New York session running, right? And most likely we will see price going in there, right? That would be great if we see just a dump down like it was in the previous streams. We don't know, right, if it's gonna happen or not. It's still printing lower lows, right? I have entered a little bit, not exactly. Where is my entry? This is here's the link, right? So here's actually what I did, right? At this moment when I get this order block, I've been expecting a little bit pullback, right? And as you can see, my limit was not filled, right? Price dropped lower, right? So I have this entry with the stop in here, right? And if price retrace, I will be adding into the position, right? I will be adding a little bit more, right? And targeting these lows in here, right? So that's the framework behind my link trade, right? And basically similar thing I got on the inch, right? But in there it's even a little bit more better in my opinion, because we are still able to catch it quite here on this entry right now, right? Give me a second, guys. Sorry, in here. Petr, prosím tě, můžeš mi ty otázky z toho chatu přeposílat do Telegramu? Nějaký ty zásadní. Alright, I just requested this colleague here to send me the questions, because if I connect into the chat in the Telegram, then I don't see the questions. But I can see the questions in here actually. This is audience. Where is this chat? Here is a chat, right? Hopefully they will blah. Okay, so here we have it. What is your lowest time frame order block to trade? Okay, guys. So let me make it like cool. I can actually move it to the next screen. Okay, good. Where is my mouse now? All right. How I'm gonna get this mouse back? Okay, I'm here. All right. So now I can actually see the questions. Buckford, yeah, now it's good. Is there a liquidity underneath? What is your lower time frame order block, right? Yeah, okay, my friend, nice. I will explain in a minute, right? Now let me explain this. Now let me explain. I'm sorry, I said I don't have a mouse here right now, and okay, I'm here. uh, Now here is a inch, right? Let me explain this one. Here I have the little bit better entry on the inch, so it's here, right? Here we have the inch going, right? Here's the inch, right? So entering just right in here, right? And let me take you to the trending view. Let me break it down for you, right? So again, very similar price action is happening in here, right? So on the higher time frame, I do think that we're gonna see something like this, right? Something like this, down and then higher, right? But right now it's a room to go lower, right? So we are still trading kind of in this, if you look at the swing, we are still trading kind of above the discount, right? So we're waiting for the price to drop lower, which will be in here, right? Below this candle will be the first significant liquidity, right? So I think we're going there on the daily time frame, right? So that's my bias on the daily. Also, we are not here in any key level, right? It's also, even if this level is working, it's still lower, right? So in my opinion, that's why we could go lower, right? Let me take you to the lower time frame. Actually, let me stay here, but just zoom it, right? And here we are, right? So I've been drawing this daily range, right? And what we can see in here is basically the continuation lower, right? So here we have this balanced price range, right? Price been trading lower, manipulated up, take up these two highs, right? And then in this I've been looking for a key level, right? So let me take you on the 4 hours, right? And for me it's here, right? Actually, sorry, from the daily, yeah, so it would be this level, right? This last up candle that take us lower in here, right? So on the daily we have did what? Let me show you on the daily. We have traded above this day, right? And now we're closing inside, most likely for the continuation, right? So we want to be selling high, manipulation of the previous day's high, right? So now again, now we just following the same process, right? We have this daily high, right? Price traded above into the key level, right? And dropped lower and trading from this 1 hour order block in here, right? Price dropped lower, retested nicely, and now we are set for the move down, right? I do think that we will go to these lows, right? Even lower, as you know, as we have these drawings on the higher time frame, right? I think we will go lower down here, but you know, especially crypto markets, right, that there can be some manipulations, right? It can move a little bit and then take you out, right? So my target will be just a 50% of this CLS range, right? So that's how I got this trade in here, right? Running and just waiting, right? So right now, what's your BTC prediction for the end of the year? I am very bullish with the. I'm very bullish with on the Bitcoin on the high time frame, right? I'm basically Bitcoiner, guys, if you know. So anyway, maybe I'm too much bullish. So let me show you. Let me show you. Here is what I see on the charts, and I think is playing out, right? So we got this channel right here. Um, this channel was defined by these highs, these two lows, right? We traded in 2021 highs in here in this red line, right, which is actually the first deviation of the midpoint of this channel, right? So here is a midpoint of this channel, right, of we are reacting right now. And I do think that we're gonna trade higher, right, in somewhere in here, right? That would be great if we reach these highs, but that maybe would be too much bullish. But you know, if there is anything that can surprise, that then it's Bitcoin, right? So I think we're gonna be trading in the higher part of this channel. I do not think that this is a double top and price will go lower like that. It's not gonna happen in my opinion. With this huge money printing which is coming from the US government, right? This liquidity will go into the crypto stocks, right? Especially technology stocks and AI, and it will pump price, in my opinion, higher, right? What is my plan, right? Like, you know, I have a quite significant position. Most likely more than 90% of my wealth is in the Bitcoin, and most of it I will never sell, right? At least for the next 7 years, right? So what I think is that if we go higher, somewhere around this October 2025, right, end of this year, maybe even longer, because I think that due to the Trump's tariffs, there is the trend could be prolonged. I think that highs could be printed around October, right? That's some kind of, if you put the timing on the Bitcoin, and you can actually measure from the lows to the highs, right? Recently it was exactly something like 1000 days, right? So if we project that into the future, it's giving us the highs, potential highs in here, right? Also, if you measure, try to do that by yourself. If you use this time measurement tool, if you measure from the highs to the lows, it's exactly 365 days, and it has repeated 2 times. Measure it and you will see from this high to this low, and from this high to this low, right? So will it repeat? Who knows, right? We actually don't know if there will be again some bear market, right? Because all of this demand which is coming into the Bitcoin, and we have there is probably something like 130 Bitcoins on the OTC desk, right? Once these are out, then the seller will have to come to the Binance or some exchanges, and he will be buying Bitcoins in there, right? And it will start to move the price for sure, right? So that's the question. I'm definitely bullish, at least until end of the year. If we will end up on the 150k or 250k, right? Who knows, right? We don't know it. If the US will really bring the strategic Bitcoin reserve, then it's end game, and we're going to the 500k very soon, right? But still, we are human, and I think this gambling mind is still in our minds, right? So let me check just quickly, you know, this habit to checking the charts constantly, right? So the trade is slowly starting to develop, right? Link also is on the move down, right? So that's right. So now let's go to check the XRP as someone requested, right? Let me actually check the another questions. Which CLDS model is this again? It's model number 1, right? It is. You asked what is actually, this is the interesting question. What is the lowest time frame order block you trade, right? Basically, I'm not looking at it. I'm not looking at this with the time frames for the order block, right? But I'm looking for the time frame alignments, right? So let me explain. I cannot pick any time frame for the order block. I need to pick specific time frame based on my CLS range, right? So let me explain, right? I'm picking the CLS range, right? Some kind of the range, right? Which I have here, and then I got some price action, right? And what we are looking for is some kind of a manipulation, right? Then price closing inside, right? And in here will be some candle, right? Some last up candle, right? And then we have our order block created, right? Because we had here up candle that has manipulated above these highs, right? And from there we want to trade after the close below this order block, right? So there we will be looking for a trade setup, right? But so how the trade setup will looks like like this, right? Let me put this here, right? So this will be our trade setup, right? In here, and targeting 50%, right? Which is quite shitty risk reward in here, right? And the lows, right? If you also trading in the trend and you have the higher time frame context, right? But where is my order block, right? It's basically here, right? This thing basically here, right? That's my order block. Now as said, I cannot pick any order block, right, which I want to, right? Let's say I cannot say right now I'm gonna trade off the 15-minute order block. There has to be some kind of a order, right? So for example, if this range, right, as I had in here, if this range will be weekly, right, then I will be trading from the 4 hours order block, right? If it's going to be daily, I will be looking for the 1 hour order block, right? If it's going to be 4 hours, I will be looking for the what? M15, right? If it's going to be 1 hour range, M5, right? And then I don't suggest to go lower time frame, right? Then it's really scalping, ultra scalping, and the brokers can give you a slippage, and it's a big disadvantage, right? And obviously, if it's going to be monthly, then I'm looking for the daily order block, right? So that's the order blocks, how I use them, right? Was most important for me is this range, right? If this range is traded from the weekly, right, it's going to be 4 hours order block, right? 4 hours up candle, and then trading from there, right? So I hope this make it clear, right? And now let me take you to this link or this inch, doesn't matter, right? And now you can see in here, right? So and the time frame really doesn't matter, right? The price action is fractal, and if I don't have this indicator in here and you don't know what the time frame is, this then if this is daily, then we're looking on the 1 hour order block, which is created in here, right? Now if this will be weekly, this order block, this up candle, sorry, will be 4 hours, right? And so on and so on, right? So there has to be this order, my friend. I hope it makes sense and it helps, right? Stop loss liquidity. Which CLS model? This is model number 1. What is breaker block? Is it like some special order block? I will explain. Give me more, or hopefully David explains it. When XRP, when Lambo tomorrow, my friend. David, please, when you are streaming tomorrow. No, tomorrow I'm not streaming. Tomorrow we're going to the BTC Prague conference, right? So tomorrow I will not do stream. Yeah, I mean, check the BTC dominance chart, blah blah blah. David has had on his shoulder, brother. Well, okay. David, do you only trade swing trade, or are you scalping as well? Seller is going to be there. Yes. Okay, my friend. So let me explain. Someone asked about a breaker block, right? It's actually a very similar thing, right? So what's the breaker block? And then I will show you something what I think how the dominance is actually relative to the Bitcoin, right? So as this is order block, right? this last up candle, right? There has to be also the manipulation of something like that, right? This would not be valid order block if there is not these candles that took some high in here, right? Now, breaker block, right? Breaker block is mostly in the confluence with the order block, right? So we have this is order block, and the breaker block is actually these two down candles, right, before the price went higher, right? So why we have these two down candles, right? Because in here the market makers, they, when the price is going lower, they accumulating positions to take price higher, right, to this liquidity, to this key level. Once the price break lower, they will most likely retest because they need to close these longs, right? In here, in this up move, they've been building the shorts. They added more shorts, then they had these longs in here, and they need to retest. In here, they closing these positions which they use to manipulate the price higher, right? But to make it clear, we'll push the price even through the comparative cluster. No, I would not say that it pushed it further, but as you can see, it's kind of like a really same, like, right? Looks like the price reacts stronger from there. It's same, right? You see here we have this breaker, is these two up candles, right? And here is the order block, right? Also the order block has a look. What I'm also using is this up candle. I just measure this candle, right, from up to down, and this is a midpoint, right? I basically now draw the Fibo, and here this, let me put a pink, and let me make it like this, right? And now you see this up candle here is a midpoint of it, right? So you can see in here you would have the best entry, right, in this midpoint, but right, that would be the best entry, right, in here. But you also need to know that sometimes the price doesn't reach this level, right? So you need to do, when you developing your strategy and your system, you need to have the backtested data, and you need to realize for yourself if it's worth for you to wait for the best entries in here, right, or if you enter in here, because I know that not always this level is reached, right? So you need to find the balance if you want to be in most of the trades, or if you want to be just in the best ones, right? So that's something what you need to do, and you will find out a lot of these informations by doing a great trading journal, right, where you put all of these things, right? Oh, hello Neo Trader. You didn't miss anything. We just talking about a inch trade and also a link trade, right? I trade those in combination with Fibonacci. Yes, my friend. It's actually the model number 2, right? So what am I basically doing mostly, and how I have my strategy built, right? So I got this CLS range, right? And the model number 1 is simply this entry in here, right? Targeting this 50%, and if the price reaches this 50%, right, in here, if that happens, we don't know if the low will be here or here, but I can give you a small tip. What mostly happens is that if you measure the Fibo from here, if you measure Fibo from, if you measure this Fibonacci here, and you put this, right, so that candle, this candle, which took us from this discount to the premium, I call it transition candle, right, then the price most likely reach this, right? That's a potential target, right? So if the price will, let me draw it again, if the price will reach this low, right, and then starts to move higher, right, then what I do is I simply take Fib again, right, in here, and in here, and let me change to two levels, right? In here 61.8, right, which is a golden pocket, right? There I would be looking for another setup, right? On the lower time frame again to create some high, manipulated, close lower, right? This is the same thing that happens in here, right? And then targeting the full range of this low, right? Your last setup on Solana, yeah, that's but it's a quite long time. That was quite good one. Yeah, so that's basically it, right? So now let's look to the XRP. Let's go to this XRP, this ultimate shitcoin. No, I mean, I don't like this guy from the XRP because they've been trying to run some campaign against the Bitcoin, right? And I don't think that it's overall good for the crypto trading community, right? So what do I see here, right? Not much, but I see something. Let me take you to the 3 months, right? And on the 3 months, again, let me do the same thing, right? So I'm going to highlight right now this range, right? Which I call a CLS range. So we have the big candle, right? Then manipulated. At some specific time, this candle, which has wicked above and closed inside, right? In one moment from this open, this candle has been looking like this, right? It has been very bullish, breaking these previous highs, right? It's been very bullish, right? When this pumped, it's actually few months ago, because this is a 3 months candle, and in here everyone was calling XRP to the 10 or 100, or that it will kill the Bitcoin or whatever, right? This XRP army. But I don't have nothing against these people, right? So anyway, what is happening in here? We have this, right? And based on our model, most likely price could reach this, right? 50%. That doesn't mean that I'm gonna short here, right, and wait for that, right? We have just something which might happen. Will it happen? Most likely not, because we are kind of in the bull market, right? But it's giving us some kind of a perspective in here. So let's go lower time frame right now, right? On the lower time frame, what we can see in the monthly, right? As we have an idea that the price could go into this 50%. So we are bearish right now, right? And we can see again another CLS range in here, right? Look, right in here, right? So what's happening, right? We have manipulation, candle closed inside, right? Potential to reach the 50%, right? It's a monthly. So let's go down to the daily, right? What's happening on the daily? Let's watch that, right? Where is our, here we have this up candle, right? This last up candle. I'm not counting this one with the wick, but this one, right? These candles went above these highs, so it took liquidity in here, right? Created order block after the candle closed below in here, right? So here was the order block created, right? And then price going lower, right? Yeah, we will check also the AVAX, right? Now we can see, we see some signs of some liquidity to be set, right? We can see, yes. Here we can see relatively equal lows, right? Also, as per my model, as per my strategy, we can be targeting 50% in here, right? So most likely we are going to reach this level. Because why? Because also if you look left, okay, now I have moved my mouse in here. because if we look left in here, okay, I'm terrible without this mouse. If we look left in here, right, we have order block in here, right, and we're going from the key level to the key level, right? So here is a bearish, here is a bullish, here is most likely liquidity, right? Here is the order block, which is probably not seen, right? Price retested it, going lower right now, right? So now we need to find again the setup on the lower time frame, and to be honest, I really don't see it here, right? I really don't see anything. How would I enter in here, right? So I see that we will most likely drop lower, right? But what I do is that I would like to enter after the manipulation of some highs, right? So that means that I would be glad to be entering. Here we have the manipulation, right? Closing inside of the range, right? And entering here, or maybe on the retest. But right now, right, the price is already kind of running now, yeah? We know that it can go lower, but what I want to do is trade after taking some liquidity, or let's say the highs, right? Because it's basically that's where the liquidity is mostly being placed, right? So we could frame it most likely from this day high, right? We can see this day high has been traded, right? But again, then if we go lower time frame, it wasn't really deep manipulation, right? It's kind of in the range, and for me it can drop lower, but I would not be entering in here, right? So at this stage in here, I simply have a kind of a framework. I know where the price could most likely go, right? But I don't have a trading setup, right? So that's also, so in here I would stay out of the market currently, right? What I would do in here, I would set alarm in here, right? Above these two highs, if they would be manipulated, right, into this order block. Let me change the color of this order block so we can see it better, or maybe make it a little bit more fat, right, in here, right? So if the price comes in here, that's where I would be interested to trade, right? Do you wait for the break of the structure? Most likely not. I'm not trading break of the structure. Let me actually explain, because with how I'm looking to the markets is I got here this my presentation. Let me take you here, right? So basically I'm looking for market manipulations, right? And in here, if you see it well, the break of structure is actually kind of, I cannot say that it's not working, but you need to put it into the context, right? So for example, here as you have the structure and market is moving higher, right, and then you get the break in here, right, you will be most likely trapped and price will go higher against you, right? And same thing will gonna happen in here, right? Even though when you draw the liquidity manipulation, right, and then break of the structure, it will still trade again against you, right? So you need to pull all of these things into the context, and I am looking to the give me a second, guys, because I need to connect my MacBook to the electricity, otherwise we're gonna run out of the battery. Right, so I'm looking at this in the way that I'm looking for the in the uptrend, I'm looking for the rejecting lows and breaking highs, right? So I'm basically looking at the markets kind of a counter trend, right? So because I actually realized that this break of the structure uh, bit is actually kind of a manipulation, right? Because with the break of the structure, you actually kind of selling the lows, right? So I'm not using it really because in my opinion, it's not effective, right, for me. Can you share this document? My friend, this document, it's a part of my free trading basecamp when I'm explaining all of these things, right? There is also my strategy completely explained, right? Kind of trading models and these things, right? So once it is out, I will be sharing it in the videos and give all of these comments, right? What was the questions? When you pass, we trade a scene, to me. Basecamp is now recorded and it's in the hands of the video editor. So he's doing some final touches, and then it's going to be. Then I will share it, right? Also in the Hero, right? Now this is quite interesting question that the guy who's asking about the passing the challenge, right? So for me, it took about 2 months. And if you're asking about a risk management, uh, I am kind of running I would call it uh, kind of like a progressive risk management, right? So what does it mean? It means that basically I'm starting with the 0.25 risk per trade. If I get above a 2% gain of my challenge, I start to increase the risk to 0.5 risk per trade, right? When I get into the drawdown, I basically decrease my risk, and if I get below 5%, I a little bit increase it in the first phase, or let's say in the challenge, right? Because why? Now you might start to think because it's gambling. No, it's because I do not want to stay in the challenge for a long time, right? I'm using the prop firms as a scaling or as an extension of my personal trading, right? Not as a solution to the financial situation, right? So it's a kind of also the risk game, right? Because with all of these rules that you can risk the specific amount per trade, right? So then the not passing a challenge is kind of a normal thing, right? Because many people think, right, all right, if I'm going to risk 1% per trade, it's fine, but it's not, right? Because basically you need to realize that you have 10% maximum drawdown, right? So it doesn't mean that you got the whole capital, right? With the 1% risk per trade, you basically risking whole challenge on the 10 trades, right? And even the best trading strategy can have a series of the losing trades, right? So you need to do a smart risk management, right? Like a 2 to 4% on scalp, right? I mean, yeah, if you do that, you are a very good trader. But I'm not too much in a scalping. I used to do that when I was younger. Now I'm 40 and I'm really not the guy who wants to sit behind the screen like a lot of time of the day, right? For me, it's more comfortable to take such a trades, right, which I'm trading in specific times of the day, and then I leave it, right? I'm also more focusing to the swing trading, right? So I can actually show you some bigger time frame setups which I'm waiting for. Right now, here is the Solana, right? Here is Solana, and here actually you can see the same thing which I've shown you today, right, on these small time frame setups, right? But this is going to be like a high time frame setup, right? So here we have again two equal lows, right? I do think price is going lower, right? Here we have a transition candle, and here we have a order block, right? So on this range, right, on this 3 months range, right, we can see that basically the price has manipulated, right, this range low, and then it start to move higher, right? Created the order block in here, right? Reached the 50%, right? From here, when this happened, right, then I'm looking for a pullback into where? From this low to this high. I'm measuring FIP, right? And then I got golden pocket, right? Between 61.8 and the 80%, I want to find my key level, right? So it's going to be this order block, right? And it can be in here, or the setup can occur in the 50% of this order block, right? One of these two levels, right? How do I know which one it's going to be? Basically, on the lower time frame, because this is weekly, I will be looking for, again, to create what? To create my CLS range, right? Why? Because if you look to the markets, mostly on the highs and the lows, there's a high volatility candles, right? Which is these CLS ranges, right? So I do think that's gonna be one which will be created in here, right? And then I'm gonna have the low, right, high, right, and then once I get the manipulation in here on the lower time frame, right, creating again order block on the lower time frame, that's how I'm gonna frame my trade, right? And to the moon. In my opinion, but that's okay. Now let's some questions. In my opinion, the secret of the success in the trading is psychology. 70, 60. Yeah, I personally think that it's a little bit even more about psychology, right? I can tell you that actually I got some. I feel that on myself, right? When I was divorcing the previous year, it really affected my trading a lot, right? Trading is a reflection of your life, right? And if you have really difficult period in your life going, that's can really affect your trading, right? Also, it's a lot of about discipline, right? Because I believe most of you have a great strategy, but not every strategy is printing good setups every day. Actually, none of the strategy prints good setups every day. And what is important to know when you trade, when you recognize your setup, and that's when you have to execute, right? And it depends if you scalper or day trader or swing trader or whatever, right? Mostly in the month, you have some number of the trades which your strategy produce, right? And your main goal is to recognize when to trade and when not to trade, right? And most of the people fail because many of us are thinking that you need to be trading every day, right? To be paid for your work, to do the analysis, right? But it's not. It's different, right? Especially in the trading, less is more, right? When I'm going through my journal, right, and I see the trades, I realize that if I actually reduce the number of the trades and I really take just the best ones, it would be much better for me, right? So it depends, right? I try to step and say, yeah, exactly, right? That's it, right? But does the price only tap into the order block, or does it like sweep it, right? Yeah, that's an interesting question, and we got last 6 minutes, right? So let me explain how. Let me explain the order block, right, for you. Let me take it there to this, and okay, it's gonna be a little bit lower, probably, I think. And here, right? So here's my specifics of the order block, right? order block always have to take some liquidity. What does it mean, right? Liquidity, very cool, the word, right? But it's basically some lows, right? Why is most likely liquidity in there, right? Because retail traders, and now I do not want to say that I am not retail trader. All of us in here are retail traders, but let's say less informed traders are mostly putting stop losses into these levels, right? And if we want to see a order block to be created, it has to be somewhere in that liquidity pool, because that's where the market makers are buying, right? So if they want to buy, they need to do it under the lows, right? So if some order block is created, let's say in here, right, because this candle has closed above these ones, right, it's not order block. Your order block has to be in a liquidity, right, in below the lows, right? That's where it is mostly created, right? Then you want to see a displacement. So what does it mean? It means a sharp reaction, right? Sharp move with the fair value gaps, with the gaps, right? That means that the large orders entered the markets, right? Then you can trust this level, right? Also, it has to be created in the discount, right? So what does it mean, right? In here we have this we measured from this low to these highs, right? So in here we have the premium, and below a 50% it's a discount, right? So we do not want to be trading in the order blocks which are created in the premium, right? You can see here is a discount, here's a premium, here we have order block, right? It has dipped below the lows, right? It has closed above. But if you trade based on that, right, you see you will be trapped because it's in the premium, right? It's still not in the discount, right? So you need to be waiting for that. Then let me take you back. Yeah, liquidity sweeps. Yeah, fair value gaps, right? It has to have fair value gaps located in here, displacement, right? And then another thing which I would add also, how you know that the order block is valid, that it will hold. As I shown you before, the measuring the 50%, right? So as you asked, if it also the sweep, no, the order block should not be swept, right? Order block should be holding the price, and the price actually can, let's take this down candle, right, as a order block, right? And if the price comes here, right, it could react off this level, right, of this open of this down candle, right, or it can go deeper into it, right? Now again, if I measure the 50% of this, so I'm going to use the Fibonacci right now. If I'm going to measure this, right, and I'm going to put this template, which is actually the 50%, right, it will draw me this line. That's a 50% of this sweep, of this down close candle, of this creation of this order block, right? So as said, the price can react of this level, or it can go lower, right? Now listen, this is important. This is a daily order block, right? And it will be same for any time frame order block. Price can also have a strong level in the 50% of that order block, which it can react from here, and it can also go lower. But if we are on the daily in here, let me clean this, right? And you will be getting some candles dipping lower in here, right? It should not close below the 50% of this order block, right? If you get candle like this with the wick which went lower and closed above, that's a signal that the order block is strong. But if you get candle which going to the order block in here react, then it can go higher. But if it goes to the 50% and closes below, then it's most likely going to fail and it goes into this lows, right? So in this case, what I'm also doing, right, it's also important to know when you need to get out from the trade, right? If you have a trade entered, let's say here, right, with the stop loss here, right? And then target, whatever is your target, right? And the price reacted here on this order block, and then you see that it's closing below the 50% on this time frame, then you can close it. Then immediately get out from the trade, because most likely this low will be attacked, right? So that's what I would say, right? So let's check some last few questions, my friends, and then we're going to close it for today. I hope that I gave you some fundamental smart money concepts. Video, YouTube, blah, 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 yeah. Can a whole range be order block, maybe lower time, higher time frame, lower time frame range? Yes, yeah. Personally, I use only two tools: your security FPGA. FPGA is also very good, right? Yeah, yeah. Whole range can be order block, right? Actually, but later when you realize, you know, I'm trading these CLS ranges, right? Let me show you something, right? Now, what you see in here, this thing, right? This big range, right? Manipulated and price traded inside. You can see that on all the time frames, right? It's also in here, right? Also in here on the daily. Let me actually delete everything from here, right? You can see here again you have the range manipulated and price traded inside, and then move then traded to the top, right? Then you actually trading this on the, if as we said, it's on the daily, then you need to look for your order block on the 1 hour, right? So what you doing then, right? Look, right? You're looking for these consecutive candles, right? Price closes inside in here. Here you got this, right? It wasn't like a really clear setup, right, for the model number 1, because the price closed above here, and then you don't have good risk reward. But in that case, you're gonna use Fib, right? Let's measure, right, in here, and let's see if we get it in here. It doesn't look like it is. We will see. I think it's not gonna fit in here. Yeah, okay, you see it dropped exactly into the 61.8 into this last down candle, right? You see, into this order block in here, right? So here you get a setup, right, for the long and targeting this high, right? That's the strategy. And now let me show you, do you have weekly limits for your trades, right? Look, and now let me show you something, right? What actually brings me to these questions, right? You have this range which we've been able to trade on this lower time frame, right? Now let me show you something. Remember, it's this last daily down candle, right? Now let me take it back. Let me bring back the drawings, and now watch this. This range which we have been actually able to trade right now, which we dissected this trade, right, in here, then price went higher. What is this range right now? This range is actually now became an order block, right? So yeah, this is how I would close it. This is how I would close it today, my friends. And yeah, any good books for the beginner traders? Exactly, learn the risk management, and I would suggest you Mark Douglas. How's it called? How's that book from the Mark Douglas? I cannot remember right now. Trading in the Zone, right? Trading in the Zone and Disciplined Trader, right? It's a psychology trading book from the Mark Douglas, the best ones, right? So that's how I would close it for today, my friends. Let's check our trades. You see, it looks good. Inchcoin, right? Link also dropping lower, right? Looks good here, right? There's some decent profit. This inch coin now printing, right? 500. Next one is link, right? Overall around 600 for today, right? On the lower time frame, I would say not bad. And yeah, my friends, that's it. Let's close it in here. It was 1 hour. I hope you have learned anything, or maybe I gave you some advice at least about the order block. This will be obviously recorded, right? Where you can learn CLS. Yes, my friend, you can just check me on the Discord in my signature, and it's easy. All right, my friends. So take care. Bye bye.